Joining us for more on tonight's topic is Elena Ray, Director of Planning, Zoning, and Building for Longboat Key; Norm Schimmel, former resident of the Colony Resort; and joining us by Skype is Jay Yablan, President of the Colony Association of Unit Owners. Thank you all for joining us. And Jay, if I could start with you. Kate talked in her story about the percentage of former owners who need to sign off on this agreement. What's the holdup?
Well, no, hold up. We just finished in the last 4 or 5 months negotiating the development agreement with Unicorp. At the end of July, our association board approved agreement to be brought forward to the unit owners. They gave myself and 2 of my colleagues authority to dot some I's and cross some T's, but we're expecting this week that will be done. And then we will be taking the development agreement out to our unit owners to vote on approval. We'll be giving it a very strong endorsement from our board for their approval.
Do you have any doubts whether the owners will approve of it?
We need to see what happens. What I've been hearing from the rank and file owners uniformly has been very positive reaction. 2 years ago, people were selling units for $20,000 or $30,000 or $40,000. That we've negotiated with Unicorp gives each unit owner $130,000 or more as a start. Some reimbursement of expenses that they've incurred over the last number of years. So there's quite a difference over where we were several years ago. And I think owners are going to be happy with the offer that's on the table. And certainly, to echo Norm, looking forward to get past all this and get back to vacationing at what once was, and we're hoping soon again will be, a beautiful resort on the west coast of Florida.
Norm, you were fortunate that you got out before the collapse, I believe, in 2007. So when you hear that owners are getting possibly $130,000, how does that compare to what you were able to sell for in the day?
Well, we sold, believe it or not, for the same price that we had bought the unit 15 years before. So the way to look at that is I had close to 30 vacations, which cost me nothing. And then I sold the property where people would be paying a lot of money per night for it. So both my partner and I, in buying it, both have no regrets of selling it earlier or anything like that. The reason I sold was the fact that, having lived in Manhattan my whole life, we made the decision after I got married to come and live here. But it was a good deal for us. It was a terrific deal for us. And some things die hard. That's from the key. That's from the key.
That's wonderful. But obviously, some other residents really took more of a bath.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you can, different things happen to different people. Sometimes you do the right thing for a reason that's not the reason that winds up being at the end. And we sold for a particular reason, and we wound up looking very smart doing it.
Timing is everything.
Absolutely.
Elena, what kind of impact has this had on Longboat Key? Because obviously the colony was put a lot into the local economy, and its demise must have had some kind of impact.
It had a lot of impact. One of the things that happened when it closed is it removed a venue that was a gathering place for the community. People still talk about the Sunday brunches at the Monkey Room, and they talk about all of the wonderful times they had there with family, and that's gone. The other thing that it did is the colony historically was the gateway that introduced a lot of people to the Key who eventually purchased property on the island. And once the colony was no longer in operation, people didn't really have a method for discovering the Key that had always been there.
But in addition to that, there's also, I would imagine, tax revenue that the community lost.
Absolutely. We suffered a severe decrease in our tourism industry with the loss of the colony and the loss of a couple of other resorts on the island around the same time. And some of our businesses reported as much as a 40% loss in revenue, and we did have quite a few businesses close after that.
Jay, if you could still hear me, do you have any idea in terms of the continuing owners there what percentage would go for the cash payout, and others who would take new units in the new resort?
I can't really say that definitively. I think once we start to survey the owners, and part of what is built into the process with Unicorp, once we survey the owners, we're going to try to get a handle on that. I'm going to right now, and it's just a stab in the dark, guess that about half of the current owners are going to just want to cash out, and the other half of the owners will want to apply that cash to stay in some fashion. But that's to be determined still.
Norm, you said in Kate's story there that whatever they do, they cannot recreate the magic that was there. But things do change, and I would imagine that you would be hopeful that it will be different in a great way.
Absolutely. And again, knowing a little bit about the management that would take it over, they've done a wonderful job in other areas. I want to make one point about the Colony. When you talk about the 70s, it was worldwide known. It's the #1 tennis resort in the United States. I was running the company that invented the steel racket. I first heard about the Colony in a locker room in Forest Hills. And so this was not just a Longboat Key or a Sarasota. It was a worldwide known resort. And of course, when Bollettieri came in, which got me there, it just goes on. I think they're going to do a great job, and I think they'll have a wonderful resort. I really do.
Elena, you did express some concern about the increased traffic in that area because there's only really one road going through the area. But I would imagine that's good news and bad news. And would the community chip in or help with the infrastructure around it to make the burden in terms of the traffic a little less onerous for local residents?
Well, I think that while we can do very little regarding the infrastructure, the road is owned by FDOT, and there's not a lot you can do with the road. Hopefully, a lot of the people who stay at a future resort will spend more of their time on the island. We have restaurants, world-class restaurants on the island, 5-star restaurants. And hopefully they'll be spending a lot of time on the island and enjoying what we have to offer out there. And then we, of course, are in ongoing efforts with our other island communities and Sarasota and Manatee County, as well as the city and FDOT, regarding both short and long-term solutions to traffic problems.
Norm.
Well, as a member of the Tourist Development Council, I'm very, very concerned about the infrastructure, about the entire county of Sarasota. But the 2020 people, just so you know, as part of the thing that they're doing, are looking at water shuttles. They're looking at water shuttles, trolleys, a thing we call collectors. And it's the problem you're talking about is part of a whole county infrastructure problem, and I think you're going to see some movement on that.
Well, I think this has been long overdue. I know that it's an eyesore, and I think the entire community probably looks forward to it, the restoration of really a classic and historic resort there. So thank you everybody for coming in tonight.
Thank you.